we're a private equity fund. We invest across a range of firms. We've got 3 funds at the moment with 10 portfolio companies. Anvizent is in 2/3 currently. And that's across a range of industries. We particularly specialize in kind of what we call RMI businesses, so repair, maintain, improve. So that can be builders, merchants. That could be, we own one of the largest paint distributors in the UK. We also have dabbles in healthcare. We've got a US investment, which is a sort of healthcare development structure for, I think it's called Care in Place in the US. You're US based, so you probably know what it's called. And we also have other investments in wider kind of related to lifestyle, so sports and renewable energy. And we have quite a diversified one, but we always look at a kind of market opportunity and then slightly to the left of where it would be. So we don't really, renewables, for example, we don't invest in wind farms. We invest in something just adjacent to wind farms because, you know, we can't compete with BlackRock and, you know, Shell and all the big guns out there with billions of dollars kicking around here just buying off every wind farm in the country. Normally, the companies that we buy into are either they've been owner operated or they haven't had a huge investment in systems, etc. So to accelerate their growth and the build and value in that company, we really want to give them the opportunity and the capability to use business information in as smart and as sophisticated way as possible. And Anvizent has the toolkit to kind of very quickly build in the sort of baseline data infrastructure that you need to be able to build, you know, a BI dashboard out of. And a lot of the time, you know, companies that we invest in don't have that in-house capability to do it. They may have a vague understanding of what they're trying to do, excuse me, but they don't have either the capacity or the expertise or the technology to get there. So we had Anvizent come in and say, okay, we can help you get, you know, really quickly get to the next stage by using our expertise and our kind of underlying systems and software. Normally, giving them, you know, the discussion things like Tableau, PowerBI, you know, all these other in-house developed ones are great if you've already got capability that exists within there. A lot of the time, the portfolio companies that we have, for multiple reasons, sometimes don't have that. So having an external third party who has the experience and knowledge and capability of how to bring in a Power BI or a BI suite fairly promptly is a real boon. It's very helpful to have that sort of string to your bow so that you can go, okay, we can get you Power BI within the next 3 months, rather than it taking you 3 months to find a Power BI guy, get all that, figure out the data set, get your database all set up, do all that nitty gritty. It can take you 6 months to get there.
And with Anvizent, it's probably closer to, you know, a couple weeks, maybe a month. What's the timeline?
Yeah, I'm working with Lackey and his team. I think the fastest time we got a kind of data setup done was something like 10 days. Which was a slightly shocking moment for some of the people who were asking questions. They were like, what do you mean we have data in 10 days? It's like, I mean, we just ripped it out your system. It's not perfect yet, but it's there. Where normally, as soon as you invest into a company, you lose a little bit of performance because of all the changes and implementation and projects, and it doesn't function as well as a business normally did. We try and shorten that as much as possible by bringing in partners like Anvizent and adding pace. That's kind of what my role is that I specialize in financial operational strategy and implementation of systems to improve that. The idea being that instead of just taking 3 to 4 years to get this company into a position where it can grow really quickly, and it's the capacity to, you know, handle more companies being bought in as bolt-ons or maybe diversifying the product range, we can actually do that within a couple of years, have all that capability, and then the company can just run. And that's where it gains its value. It can take advantage of all the growth that it can bring into the company. And that's the, you know, the big attractor for us when it came to Anvizent was very quick at getting data out, an understanding of, you know, the very interesting thing working with Anvizent is that they're not business matter experts, but they know the data really well. So they'll make really good guesses about how things relate to each other. And then go, does this make sense? You know, most of the time it does make sense. Some of the time you're like, I mean, what I can see what you're trying to do, but sometimes it's just the wrong side. But that the vast majority of it, my experience is that people's data is not particularly clean. So, you know, they might say, is this the right vendor number to be using? We're like, no, actually, I appreciate that that table says vendor number 3 times. You want the third one in the line. You don't want the first one.
And so beyond speed, like that's probably one of the main benefits in terms of like ROI or impacts would be that, you know, it's self-correcting in a way, and that like as you scale and maybe
Yeah, you can bring in multiple data sources. A slightly left field advantage that we've identified as part of our processes and how we work is that going through Anvizent integration is almost a diagnostic process where you look at the data system that exists, you can look at the finance systems, you can look at the other processes that exist in the business and identify where things don't exist or something's not right. Because as soon as you try to understand a problem and you go, oh, we actually don't keep track of that number, or we don't have access to that piece of information, you can then start to go, how do we do that? Is it necessary? What's the question we're trying to answer? And so, you know, going in with a team like Anvizent, they build the data warehouse, they'll immediately respond saying, yeah, so if you want to bring that in, you don't have a metric that identifies what that is. So then, you know, we go back and we look at our enterprise resourcing programs, we go back and look at our financial systems and say, where should this data sit? Is there a way that we can get it? Do we need it? That sort of idea. So that's been a really interesting, non-tangible value that we've got from working with it with Anvizent, is that using it as a diagnostic tool to identify other areas of concern within